Okay, I'm going to look at when you got a grind disc here. Blade Master, Easy Sharp, and Blackstone all have machines that have 8-inch diameter discs. And normally you've got a deal where the disc is spinning and you move the skate back and forth on the skate holder. So the disc is hooked up to a 2-pole motor, AC induction motor. 3600 RPM would be, if there's no slip, but at load they're all 3450. So if you think of this as a mechanism, you could either have the skate fixed and move the disc, or you can have the disc fixed and move the skate. And that's what you normally do. This is being revolved around and you move the skate. So I've had people say, well, you're going with the grain, without a grain, like it makes a world's difference. And I want to show what the velocity is here. So if you take 3450 RPM, divide by 60, that's 57.5 revolutions per second. So if you take an 8-inch disc, which is the start of a disc, times pi, that's the number of inches around here. That's the circumference. Take that, multiply by this, and you get the surface velocity at the edge of this. And 1445 inches per second, 120 feet per second. So when this is up to speed at 3450 with a regular induction motor, and you've got it loaded a little bit, this is going 120 feet per second. So if you took the skate, and here's 1 foot from here to here, and you physically put in the holder, and you're going to buzz this out real quick, like say it's a rental skate, and you go 1/1000, you go from here all the way over here. So if you move this skate 1 foot per second, you're going to vary the cutting speed by 1 foot per second on 120. So you're less than 1%. So you're going to go down here where the disc is worn to 7 inches. You got 105 feet per second. Go down to 6.5, which is about the end of the disc, generally usable. You're up to 1%. So you only have a 1% difference in cutting speed, and that's really going quick. 1/1000 from here to here. So if you started way over here, that's 1 foot, you only have a 1 foot difference here. So on a 6.5 disc, you'd have 99 feet per second going one way, and then -1, you'd have 97. So you've got about a 1% difference. Some of the forums, they're acting like it's 20-30% or something, which I thought was kind of nuts. So that's what I was just showing here. As you go down, the surface speed goes down, and so you got about 100 feet per second. Now, just for reference, at a 6-inch diameter disc, you got 90 feet per second. 88 feet per second is 60 miles an hour. So when the disc is just about down here to 6, there's a 5, you're around 60 miles an hour at around 6 inches, a little bit less than 6 inches. So as far as whether you go this way or this way, even when you get down to the disc here's at 5 inches, you're like about 1.5% or 1.25% difference whether you went this way or this way. So I don't know if you're going to have to where the grinding is going to be so that if you went add 1% or subtract 1%, you're going to make that much difference. But that's about what it is. So an 8-inch disc is used by Blade Master. It's used by Easy Sharp. It's used by an old Wissota S8 from about 35 years ago up here. And then the 911 on the Wissota uses a 7-inch disc. And the old S8B uses an 8-inch disc too, generally. So SSM2 is the European model. It's got a 150 millimeter disc here, which is about 6 inches roughly. And it's got a 2-pole motor, too, so it's going to go, surface speed's going to be a little bit less. And the SSM machine has got a 50 hertz, 60 hertz motor in it, so you can use it generally in Europe, United States, 50 hertz or 60 hertz. 50 hertz is actually going to go a little bit slower than that. So as you go down in radius here, your surface speed goes down. So your cutting here goes down. So you got about a 1% difference whether you go this way or this way. So I have a hard time believing a 1% is going to make that much difference which way you go with this skate, whether you go this way or this way. The difference is down in the mud, at least engineering wise. If it's that critical anyways, you got a bigger difference dropping here. Here you start at 120 feet per second, you go all the way down to say 90. You got a huge difference in the change of radius going from here down to the 5 versus the 1% on the direction. So if anything, you should be worried about the performance when you go ahead and get to the inner core as far as what's going on. And depending on the material, some discs are not as good when you get to the inner portion on here. So that depends on the composition and on the steel, because you're actually grinding. It's more complex than just saying you got brand A or brand B disc. You've got what the disc is made out of. You got whether this is a modern stainless steel blade. It's an old carbon steel blade which has a different type of spark pattern like they used to use for hockey skates probably 30-40 years ago. They were all carbon steel blades.